If we're not at a Disney park, we're dreaming about being there, and a cup of Joffrey's Coffee Disney Blend helps. But what about when you're at a Disney park? The Joffrey's Disney Kiosk and Restaurant Locator will make sure you never miss out. Whether it's a cool drink on a hot summer vacation or a great cup of coffee at a Disney signature restaurant, Joffrey's has you covered. Check it out at Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
While your group is together, now is a great opportunity to pick a time and place to meet should you become separated in the park.
Hey everybody! Thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott.
I'm Bob Collar.
This is ResortLoop.com. Bob, this is episode 519.
519er. No, that's not what they say.
Nah,
519.
Is there a niner in there? Is there a niner in there somewhere?
Yeah, at the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm exhausted from this show already.
Oh, I'm already cramping up
because we're talking running with our wonderful Resort Loop Rocketeer captains. Why don't you introduce everybody, the Resort Loop Rocketeer captains, Tim?
Excellent. Everybody knows Joe Quattrochi.
Joe.
Everybody.
Emily Hansa Hicks.
Woohoo! Go Rocketeers.
Woo, and we need to introduce somebody else. We're going to introduce Christina.
Hi.
Christina is our West Coast Rocketeer captain. Of course, we have a West Coast captain because now there's no races out on the West Coast. So. But when they bring them back, right? When they bring them back, we'll be ready. So, listen, guys, let's talk about that real quick because that kind of happened like, bam, right now. What happened with the West Coast races, the Disneyland races?
Well, according to Run Disney right now, they're saying it's because of the construction in the downtown Disney area I guess they're doing a renovation with some new hotels there and Star Wars Land out there. That because of the construction, they're unable to hold the Disneyland the Disneyland races, not just the half marathon weekend, but all the races out there at the current time. Because if anybody who has run Disneyland knows that they use the downtown Disney area, the promenade, quite a bit to crisscross between the two parks. So according to that's the official statement right now. There's other rumors circulating out in the interwebs about other reasons, but right now, according to Run Disney, that's what they're saying. It's because of the ongoing construction that races have been currently suspended indefinitely.
All right.
Rumor has it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you can't say in the interwebs there's rumors running around without giving us some rumors. What is it, Emily?
So I'm going to give you the rumor I've heard, but Christina, please fill in the blanks if you've heard other ones. I have heard that it is due to their, I guess you would call it a dispute with Anaheim and the sort of the surrounding areas and the taxes and all of that stuff. So there's been a lot of conflict between the Disney company and their host city recently. So it's made the news, and I've heard that they pulled the races either in response to Anaheim's playing hardball, or they were not able to get the permits from Anaheim that they wanted, or something like that. But Christina, do you have any insight?
Yeah, that's exactly what I heard too, is that they're fighting with the city. And that's the result of it, is that they've canceled the races. But I don't think it's to get back at Anaheim. I'm sure it's because Anaheim won't issue permits until they've met their demands.
Well, and wouldn't there be, security issues? They'd have to have some of the police force probably, because it's the Disneyland park's so much smaller. So to run any kind of marathon or half marathon, you're going out into the neighborhoods.
Right.
So
yes, the majority of the races out there, I did light side last year, and the majority of the races are through neighborhoods, and some of it is some major roadways. So yeah, it's definitely it causes a traffic problem for the city. You definitely have to use police, and it's a different type of race than what we're used to out at Disney World.
And Christina, just correct me if I'm wrong, because you've run more of the races out there than I have. But during Tinkerbell weekend, I believe there was multiple police departments out there. It's not just Anaheim, because we did run through, I think, different sections. So it doesn't involve just the city of Anaheim. I think they bring in other towns as well, correct?
I
thought I saw patrol cars from other cities that were helping.
The county as well. I didn't, when I think back, I don't know that I recognized which police forces were out there, but I could see them utilizing county as well. But yeah, there was definitely a large showing, because you're running down some major roadways in a tourist area too. So people are kind of looking around and not really paying attention when they're driving. So,
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
say I felt safe. They did a wonderful job, but I could see where it would take some major manpower.
Right.
That reminds me of my most exciting moment in a Run Disney race. It was seeing a Reedy Creek Improvement District wastebasket, or like a big dumpster, I'm sorry. And you guys know I'm a huge like Disney history nerd, so I was always fascinated by the whole Reedy Creek setup. And so when I saw that, I just like totally geeked out. It's the like most pathetic thing to be excited about, but I took a picture.
Look, it's a dumpster. It's a dumpster.
Reedy Creek dumpster.
That's cool.
Celebrity dumpster.
All right. So you guys have to explain. We'll go around the running table here. We'll go around the track.
You
We'll
skip
call it a
me.
Track.
Skip me, Bob.
Put me at the end.
We're gonna skip the old guys, me and Tim. So we're gonna let our captains run around the track here. Explain why the Disney running events are so popular.
Christine, you want to take a crack at it?
Well, I probably have multiple reasons. One, obviously, we're all Disney fans, so rolling a vacation into a race, kind of a runcation, is definitely appealing. My in-laws live near Disneyland, so I'm there anyways all the time, and my family lives in Orlando, so I'm there all the time anyways. So it's a way for me to roll in visiting family and a vacation and running a race all into like one package, so to say. And I mean, best place to celebrate is Disney, right?
Right.
You did a race, and then you get to go out into the parks all day. It's awesome. It's a much more of a reward than anywhere else because of that aspect, because it's like an immediate party for you afterwards, and you just spend the rest of the time having fun with your family.
That is so true.
Great,
and people
yeah.
congratulate you. If you walk around with your medal at home, people would look at you like, wow, she's pathetic.
It's over. It's over. Put the medal away.
I see you run. La-ti-da.
I've never seen people wear their medal after a race around except at Disney events.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a big deal. It's different running through the places we normally run from rope drop to where we want to go, but to get some of that, like you said, Emily, the backstage kind of areas that you get to run in.
So true.
Well, I think I cried the first time I ran through the carousel at Disneyland. It was just such a moving experience. You're, all hopped up on adrenaline anyways, and then suddenly like you're running through and there's cast members at the end cheering, and you're like, oh, this is for me. It was definitely a boost in the race for me.
Very good. What about you, Joe? Why do you love running the Disney?
It's just
Because
one of
you've
those.
done a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It's a giant event. It's we all love running our local races, and there's nothing better than running a local race. A lot of the races support local causes and charities, but when you run like a Disney race, it's an event. It's for you. You signed up, you paid for it, you trained for it. Everybody's down there. You're down there with 20,000 other people with the same craziness as you. They're going to tackle, like, there's nothing better than when you go to the expo and you're going to pick up your bib and you see everybody else who's excited. They're taking pictures and they're with their families, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this crazy thing with all these other random people I don't even know, and it's going to be fun, and I'm going to smile and do it. And it's just one of those things where, you don't get that at your local race. It's a destination. It's an event. There's only certain running events in the country that feel almost the same way as a Run Disney race. I think your major marathons, obviously Boston's the granddaddy of them all. That's on a whole other level, but Chicago, New York, LA, the rock and roll races are big. And Run Disney, these are like the big races that feel like a destination events. And that's why I think, besides us loving Disney, we love being part of these events and being part of something that's, special and something that you'll remember for the rest of your life if this is something that you trained for.
Now I gotta call Joe out. The ladies know. I gotta call Joe out on this because the ladies and most of the Run Disney folks will dress up in character depending upon what race they are running in. For example, I know Emily has been Darth Maul in the Star Wars marathon, and Christina has been a Imperial Guard or Imperial. What was that? Officer?
Or officer,
Nice.
Imperial officer.
In the Star Wars marathon. Joe, you don't dress up.
I can't. I've said this on multiple platforms. I can't do it. I have a hard enough time running regular clothes. I don't think there's enough body glide out there for me to run in a costume. Right?
Have you seen my costumes that I wear?
I did. Well,
running gear, and I usually have a hat that fits.
Well, I remember when we met for Dark Side last weekend, and your costumes were very like simple, but they were good, and they were like actually like athletic looking. I don't know if I could pull that off.
It just takes creativity.
I don't have the creativity. Maybe you guys can design something for me. Maybe we could do a exclusive next year. I could go with something.
Oh, a theme.
Here's what you do, Joe. You go get your favorite running shorts. You take a picture for us, and then we will get you a T-shirt that works with them. And we'll start with baby steps.
That's very true. My youngest is going to be running his first Run Disney race in for Princess, and that's just what we're doing. He's going to wear like his regular athletic shorts, and I'm just getting a T-shirt and making it into a prince. Like,
oh, I love it.
Very nice.
So it's easy enough to do. She's right. If you have running shorts, then we just get a shirt that works with it.
So I've just gotten 2 stylists from the show now that are going to be dressing now for Disney races.
We can
Tim?
actually crowdsource this.
Tim, I got an idea.
Uh-oh.
For Joe on the next marathon he runs, we get a big piece of cardboard, make it round, and he could be in the middle of it.
I could be the round table.
He could be the DVC round table.
I love it.
That's fantastic.
It would be aerodynamic because it would be almost like wings, so he'd be lighter, and it would keep people away from him.
That's true.
So
it would give me a giant buffer. I would have nobody running around me.
I
He might
think
burst in the
Rebecca
flight.
and I are both running Dark Side, so we can run behind you, kind of like staggering a lot, just covered in bags.
I think I would take up all of Cone Alley.
What we'll do is we'll get Rebecca and Emily and Brad to run around you while you guys
Right.
are all running.
Right.
They could like laugh you.
Christina?
Look like a
So
model
are
of
you
the
gonna be
solar
doing
system.
Dark Side, Christina?
I'm not.
Darn it.
So I had taking off like enough time to like go all the way out to Florida and stuff, because like I said, it's also like visiting my family when I'm out there, because they all of them live out in that area. So taking that much time off is a little bit difficult, and it's kind of in what we were talking about earlier. I signed up for Princess so that I could do Tink and get the pink and purple coast to coast. And that kind of blew up on my face this year. So otherwise, I would have done January and probably Star Wars, because I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but man, is that race good! It is so good.
It's a great course. It's a different course. That's why the theming is good, but like the course was actually, I liked it. It's actually grown on me the more I've thought about it. I like starting the Magic Kingdom TTC parking lot. It's just different.
I don't think there was anything I disliked about that race, and I did wine and dine in November, and I felt like I was just on the highway a heck of a lot of the time. So, but I didn't feel that way with Star Wars, and I don't know if it was just that they were really good at distracting you on some of those lonelier stretches, or if it was just a better course. I haven't looked at the maps and compared them, but it just felt like it was much more entertaining and consuming.
Well, Princess is on my list. I haven't done it yet. There's nothing better than running with a lot more women than men. Unfortunately, it's always during the weekend of the Daytona 500, so therefore that kind of washes that out. But that's actually the next race I'd really like to run is Princess weekend. I just would just like to be called Princess Joe, I guess. I don't know.
I'm excited. I haven't done it before, but I have heard from a lot of people that is the one that they consistently do every year because they like it so much. And I don't know if it's because it's a half marathon that goes through the castle. I'm not sure. A marathon weekend, did you guys go through the castle and the half?
We did. Yeah, we went to the backside of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm not sure why people love it so much, but I guess I'll find out.
I think it's just maybe just like a more of a female-driven, like themed weekend, and then also too, I believe isn't it the first two corrals are all women for this race?
Are they?
I thought that the first two corrals were all women.
That's a male, and he's in corral B with me.
Okay, so I thought maybe I heard a rumor that the first two corrals, or maybe the first corral was all women, like elite women or something like that. That they let the princesses go first. That's kind of cool, actually. But definitely on my list.
Okay, well these are the races that are available anyway. You get the Disney Princess Half Marathon weekend presented by Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. That's coming up. That's February 22nd through the 25th. Now, a lot of that is already booked, so you're going to have a hard time getting into some of that stuff. I think the only thing that's still open is the half and maybe the 10K, or the half and the challenge, I think, is the only thing that's still open. But then you also have the Star Wars Half Marathon Dark Side. That's in April 19th through the 22nd. Who's going is anybody going to Princess again? Say that.
I am. Christina.
All right, Christina's going to be at Princess.
Yep, look for Moana.
What's that?
I'm going to be Moana. Look for Moana.
Oh, cool.
Moana, very nice.
She'll have the water with her.
What was that?
Then we got the Star Wars Half Marathon Dark Side, April 19th to the 22nd. Who's anybody running that one?
I'm not, unfortunately.
Oh, you're not? I thought you were.
No,
Okay.
remember, that is the weekend I'm actually taking my wife to Kenny Chesney. So if anybody's going to be at Raymond James Stadium that Saturday, hit me up, we'll have a beer.
Well, I believe that Rebecca Toon from the DVC Roundtable is going to be there. I know Tara Renee is going to be there.
Right.
I will be there, and so will my husband, the strong and silent man behind
The
the
babysitter.
chatterbox. Yeah.
But you're not running.
We are both running.
Oh, you're
and-
running. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And that dovetails into exactly why I do the Run Disney events, which is pretty much the medals, and then also the excuse to go to Disney World with adults. And I think Tara would say the same thing because she travels by herself sometimes for these races. And, if you're telling people you're going to Disney World all the time, at least if you're doing runs, you have like a reason that you're going to Disney all the time, other than I'm obsessed with Disney World. So.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Nothing
Nope.
wrong with that.
Good question
But the
about
castle-
the Star Wars one.
What's that?
What do you guys think about this new thing they're doing with the virtual?
So that's the only reason we actually signed up. So obviously we're fans,
Oh.
but it's
Okay.
100% because we knew we were never really going to get over to California for a race. If we ever went there, it would be like a once in a lifetime, just pay attention to the park thing. So when we heard though that we could get the Kessel run, we signed up for the virtual and then the dark side as well. And my husband's a complete Star Wars nut. So I think that's going to be just kind of awesome for him. So maybe I'll even get him to dress up.
We're going to bring it out for Tink too. The virtual
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
I have more virtuals going on like in the future because it seems to be, you're pretty much paying for the medal there. It's on, I think it's on honor system. Do you have to submit your result?
No, well, so you submit your time, and when you submit your time, you get a finisher certificate, and then depending on whether or not you're running the challenge or just the dark side. So I think you will get your medal in the mail after you submit a time, which obviously is kind of unverifiable. They don't ask for any proof or anything. And then you get all three of your medals, I think, at the dark side weekend. I think you get them at the expo. I think you get the virtual half at the expo, assuming you submit a time. So I don't know if they would not give you it if you didn't submit a time, but there's no verification or anything like that. You just put the time in, and there you go.
I mean,
All right,
they're cool looking, Christina. It's just not. I mean, I'd rather just take that money and put it towards marathon weekend or something like that.
So, yeah, since I already got the Kessel, but if not, like Emily, it's gorgeous. Like
I'm
that
so
is
excited.
my favorite medals. I have like a rack of my regular medals, and then I have like a separate small one of my favorites. It's on my favorites, so
Oh,
it's
cool.
so cool looking. They did a very good job with that medal.
it's exciting. It's the only thing that would have ever gotten my husband running again. So
That's outstanding. Very good. Very good. I stand corrected, too, by the way. The Disney Princess Half Marathon coming up in a couple of weeks. It is everything's sold out, gone. Everything's gone with that. The Star Wars Half Marathon in April, the 10K and the 5K are sold out. So you can't get into those right now. The virtual ones you can do. There's nothing wrong with doing the virtual ones. The Disneyland Paris Half Marathon weekends in September. Anybody going to that one?
Tara Renee may.
No.
You did you say you may, Emily?
No, Tara Renee may do it.
Oh, okay.
I will not be there. I think she's a little bit crazy, but I guess we all knew that, right? So
We need a Rocketeer in Paris.
going to France.
There you go. Tim and I are willing to accompany. All expenses paid, of course. But
Yes.
Emily, do you know how much that one runs? Is it like the standard pricing?
I have no idea. I'll have to ask her. I think she said that she was trying to decide partially because of money, but I assume that was because of flights. So
Yeah.
I have no idea. But that is above my ability to travel at this point in my life. So
No, I completely understand. I have young kids, so Paris is a little
Right.
bit of a stretch.
right, exactly.
Well, let's talk about that, because you touch on something really important there, and that is a lot of times as people look to maybe do the Disney marathons, they look and they get sticker shock from how expensive they are.
Yeah.
So how do you justify that when it's sometimes 3-4 times what a regular race is going to cost you?
You get to get up 3-4 times earlier than a regular race. So that's exciting.
It's an experience. Maybe this is blasphemy amongst Disney people, but I think that they're overpriced personally. But like I said, I'm going to be out there anyways, visiting family. It's an excuse to go see my parents, my brothers, my sisters, or sister, sorry, not sisters. And then you're doing a vacation at Disney World too. So, it's tying a race into a family event. It can't be cheap shutting down some of those areas and the roadways. So I kind of understand where the pricing comes from. I'm not a characters person though, so a lot of people will do it for the rare characters. That's not it for me. But I think the fact that you're tying in a vacation with the event is what gives it value.
Okay. Our other captains agree with that?
It's definitely an experience. You're paying for a first class event. I completely agree with Christina. I've been on record saying that I think they're overpriced a little. They are overpriced. At least the 5Ks and the 10Ks are overpriced. There are major marathons that are more money than a Disney marathon. However, if you look at the grand scheme of things, what you're getting, for example, during a half marathon, the totality of the circumstances, you're getting first class motor coach service from your resort if you're staying on property to and from the expo. Okay, so you're getting transportation here. You're getting motor coach service to and from every race day, and then add in all of the amenities that you're getting on the course, excluding the characters. You're getting a water stop almost every mile. That's pretty good. A lot of races don't do it every mile. You're getting first class, goos, and I think some things are sponsorship and so on and so forth, but you're getting a lot of first class stuff. You're getting a first class medal. You're getting fireworks. So I still think, yes, they are expensive, but you are getting the upper echelon of services for a running weekend. It's a first class running weekend. So that will help you justify the sticker shock a little bit. The people that do every race, God bless them, it gets real expensive. But you have to kind of think of it as rolling it as part of a vacation or a longer trip. And just kind of built that into the price tag.
And I can say that I have never finished a Run Disney race, and I've done several so far, that I felt like I didn't get my value out of it. At the end, I was happy with the experience, and I felt that I got my money's worth.
Well,
I'm just glad I'm alive at the end.
Well, there's that too.
I actually only had one experience, Christina. Like, you didn't run Tinkerbell this past weekend, did you? This past year in Disneyland, did you?
No,
I don't think you did. You didn't miss much because it was a very poorly done weekend, and Run Disney completely redeemed himself over Marathon Weekend.
The one where they pulled the characters.
Yes, it was not a good weekend, and I said, you guys know I run a lot of the weekends, a lot of the marathon weekends. Never have had a problem. It was probably the worst Run Disney weekend ever. And I know they're run separately. I know there's like a West Coast Run Disney, and East Coast Run Disney, but that was the one weekend where I kind of felt like it wasn't good. And this past marathon week, it was absolutely amazing. So I don't know if they took the constructive criticism and made sure that it didn't happen. And with the cancellation of the West Coast races, they're really making sure that the East Coast races are back to their old form. But they definitely redeemed themselves. So 95% of the time, it's been a great experience. You know what I'm saying? And I think that from that bad experience where it got a lot of negative press on the internet, I think that hopefully Run Disney has seen, we really can't do that again.
And I have a slightly different experience than both of these actual runners on this team roundtable here. I am obviously not a quick runner compared to these two. These are like real runners you're talking to, Joe and Christina. I, however, sign up for these for entertainment value. And so it is 100%, like you said, part of the vacation. It's 100% to sort of have some kind of cool motivator. I actually think of it as paying for like a membership to a gym a little bit too, because I will not run if I'm not training for a race. So it's just, I do like it, but I'm not like a runner at heart, I don't think. So I don't just like do that for fun. But if I have this expensive goal, first of all, the non-cancellation policy is pretty harsh, but it keeps me running because I don't want to be wasting the money, because then my dear husband, who is super supportive in all things, may be like, are you really sure you're doing this? Or is this just a trip to Disney World without the children? So I have to maintain the facade. And then also like we were talking about earlier, Christina, the medals are just so beautiful. There's so much thought put in them. They try to, like keep you coveting the next one by changing up the designs. And then I also really do love the characters, and I'll give you some examples of the things that I think were the coolest. The Adventurers Club, they had like the 4 characters out. I think it was 4. They had a whole big display. This was last Wine and Dine, and they had the big giant martini glass. And that, I understand they were out at the marathon as well, but I never got to see them before. That was so cool. And then you have that DJ for the dark side. I don't know. Joe, did you run Dark Side?
I did.
A couple of years ago. Okay, yeah. So
this past year with Christina.
And they've done it with other races too. They have DJs out in the medians, like when you're on those long stretches of highway, and they're just blasting like the coolest music that just really, like, you just get pumped up so much. And then there were the Green Army guys out last Wine and Dine, I believe. And they were like yelling at people to keep moving, pick up their feet. Like, you're just never going to find that at another. You'll see great supportive people with signs and everything like that, but it's just a cut above the entertainment on course, which keeps somebody like me, who is not really there because she's like, wow, I'm getting a PR here. I am just there to survive. So it really distracts me. So.
And Emily, you are a runner. Don't say that you're.
You're so terrible.
The thing I love about running is that everyone runs their own race, and it's your own personal effort. And as long as you challenge yourself, then you are a runner. You ran your personal best. You ran your own race. Like, you're absolutely 100% a runner. Don't say that you're not.
You're so sweet. I once did an 11-minute mile in a competition setting. One time. It was pretty impressive.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I would just like to, and I'm going to personally embarrass Christina a little bit here on the air, but speaking of challenges, I just want to throw out there, if anybody hasn't seen her video, Christina actually raced a monorail last year.
Did she really? Are you kidding?
I think she broke them.
She raced a monorail from the TTC to the Polynesian, right, Christina?
Yeah, so I jumped off the monorail when I got on at the Contemporary. When it pulled up to the TTC and the doors open, I ran out. I accidentally ran down the wrong way, but I ran out, and then I raced it down that path that connects from the TTC to the Polynesian, got upstairs, got through security. Thank God they were really nice and like everyone kind of stood aside because otherwise I wouldn't have made it. And then I jumped on the same car.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
That is one of the coolest things. And she did video it. She's running with her phone, videoing it. And it was just one of the coolest things I've seen during a Disney weekend. So I just wanted to point that out there. That is greatness right there. So
Yeah,
That is true.
that was very impressive.
For
Very.
any challenge, worst that happens is, is it doesn't, like I don't do it. So I'm up for any challenge. I at some point want to race up the contemporary, so the stairway.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
wow.
Oh, wow.
They have a race here in Vegas that's up the stratosphere, and I was like, well, which one could we do at Disney World? I think the contemporary would be like the tallest. So I think that would be. So that's my next challenge.
That's really fun.
And you guys, because the Rocketeers, we love the Rocketeers, a part of the Looper Nation family, but they have so many great groups, and you guys are members of other running groups that are Disney running groups. That's what kind of makes it. It's almost like a festival.
It is.
Yes.
Where you're seeing and meeting other people and of like mind and just having just such a great time doing things like that, because I know it was another group that did that challenge. They challenged you to do that, to race the monorail. And so it's very cool. And just to give you getting back to the cost and the sticker shock. Okay, so the Star Wars Dark Side Half Marathon, $185. Now, for somebody like me who's not really a runner, I'm like, oh my gosh, $185 to run. If they're willing to pay me $185 to run, I might do it. But just to give you an idea, because this is like I said, it's a whole event for you guys. It's a whole weekend or a whole vacation. If you wanted to do the Savor the Savannah evening safari experience over at Disney's Animal Kingdom, $169.
Yeah, that sounds like so expensive to me.
It's right. So it's all perspective. It's all in what you enjoy doing and what you want to do. They get to see some behind the scenes things at the safari, and you guys get to see so many behind the scenes kind of things when you're doing the runs.
And you get a medal.
And you get a medal. You get the park to yourself. You get people cheering for you, making you feel good. You get to see the characters that maybe you don't typically see. It's very exciting.
It's all about what you want to do. It's like you can even go for a massage. You can get like a massage at Senses, and it's going to be a couple $100 for 45 minutes or 60 minutes. I mean, and you're getting almost even a longer experience being in a Run Disney race, and you're getting a T-shirt, you're getting a medal. So it all depends on what floats your boat, essentially.
Right, and you can't move for like the whole rest of the day, so you spend less in the parks then. Oh wait, never mind. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that happens to.
If you look at normal pricing, I mean, $186 sounds like, whoa, that's expensive. But your standard half marathon at most places is going to be around $130 to $150 for some of the major ones. So it's not that much more, when you're considering everything else that you're getting with it.
I mean, that's correct. I mean, Christina, I just ran the Daytona Beach half marathon this past weekend, and I did their quote unquote speedway challenge, which is you run the half marathon in the morning. It starts at 7:30. And in the 5K afterwards, they call it lap the track, is at 10:30. So you do the half and then you follow right back afterwards with a 5K, excuse me. And that was $145.
And also a terrible plan.
So, well, it's
I'm just
kidding. But you got 3 medals, you got some other things too, but you're not in Disney World. And it was a great race. It's one of my favorite races to run. But you're not getting that Disney experience. It's only $40 less than a Disney race. Right.
And keep in mind too, folks, that most of these races, if not all of them, are there to help a charity. They're a lot of what you're spending that money on goes to a charity. So you're helping that as well.
I did want to mention when you were telling us what was sold out, if there is an upcoming race that you really want to do and you want to do it, but it says it's sold out, contact some of the charities that are listed on the Run Disney website or one of the travel providers. They have affiliated Run Disney travel providers, and often they'll buy like a whole slew of bibs, and then if they don't sell them all, they have minimums of booking in hotels. If they don't sell them all, they may still have a few bibs left over that they committed to buy from Run Disney. And so you may be able to sneak into a race that's already sold out that way. Or you can sign up with one of the charity groups sometimes. So all is not lost if you see that it's sold out.
That's a great tip.
Yeah, good to know.
And I know with the charities too. I mean, like this year it's St. Jude, I want to say, is the charity this year. I mean, most people give the St. Jude. I haven't found anyone that's going to say like no. I know a couple people that are going the charity route for Star Wars, and they haven't had any trouble fundraising it because people that's a worthwhile cause to give to.
Absolutely. And you can fundraise for your own charity, right? I mean, you can build a group that will get your miles in and get donations for every mile that you run and raise some money for your own charity. Nothing wrong with that either. Yeah. So what are you guys' tips as far as training for a Run Disney event?
For me, it's not training for the event. It's for training for being able to walk afterwards. So this will be I'll start with the intro version here because I'm like, I'll run the first mile and pass it on to the serious racers here. But I would say that you should be able to comfortably, you should be able to comfortably hit that minimum race pace and actually beat it by a minute or two per mile. And that's to allow for bathroom stops, character stops, especially if you're going there for the novelty of the race, which is something more like along what I would do. So I'm going to stop for characters. That's why I actually train, so that I'm able to stop for the characters so that I can go to the bathroom and I'm not stressed out when I see the balloon ladies. And some people do all kinds of crazy stuff to make it more fun for them. Like there's something called dead last start, which is where people go to the very back of the last corral, even if they're like a Corral A runner. And they just try to see how many people they can pass.
Oh, wow.
And so there's that approach. There's also people that are you can make all kinds of fun little games. So you really want to be aware of whether or not you're going to stop, what kind of race experience you want to have. I don't think Disney, I mean, you can PR at Disney, especially if that's the only place you ever run halves like me. I, of course, will PR at Disney because I'm never going to run one anywhere else, probably. But I would advise you approach the race as like a reward versus the kind of race that you're like looking to beat a time. Okay.
I don't know if you heard them at Emily at Wine and Dine, but the reward thing's definitely a key point. They kept saying over the loudspeaker when everyone was getting in the corrals, like, you've done the training, you've put in the work, this is your victory lap. And they're absolutely right. The race is so much mentally easier than all the training that you put in. So approach it in that way. This is your victory lap. This is your reward.
And I'm just going to follow up with what Christina said. It's, you put the training in. Like, make sure if you're going to do a race, do the training. At least you'll put some foot forward, because you will enjoy the experience so much more if you actually did the training. It's kind of like going into a test. And this is why I run a lot of races, because if I don't train for the race, it's like showing up at a test and not studying. And the training is the studying. You will enjoy your experience so much more, because you know that if you're running a half marathon, if you're a walker, if you're a runner, it doesn't matter. If you're a walker, if your long run was 10 miles, it's like, okay, I've done 10 miles. It's only a 5K after that. I could do this. I'm already there. If you're a hard runner, and you want to go out and try to PR, you've done your long runs. You've put your tempo runs in. It's no different. It's the end of the training, essentially. So overall, you will enjoy the experience a lot more if you actually do and listen, life gets in the way of everybody. We all miss runs. We all miss, where things come up with our families and travel and work and so on. But just do the best you can. Put the work in, put as much work in as you can. That's what part of the Rocketeers is about, and all these other fantastic running groups is, share your runs with us online. Say, hey, I went out and did a mile. This is the first mile I've done in 2 years. We'll be like, hey, great job. The first step is always the hardest. I always say that. It's so hard to get out of that rut and get going. But once you get going, it's so worth it. So that's why I always say, put the work in. You will definitely enjoy the experience, because Disney can be a little deceiving, because we all think it's like, oh, it's Disney, but the distance is still the distance. It's still a half marathon. It doesn't matter if it's on World Drive or if it's in your local neighborhood. It's still 13 miles. So that's the best advice I can give to somebody, is find a support group like us or somebody else, get out there, say, hey, I'm doing the work. I'm putting the work in, train for it as best you can, and you will enjoy your Run Disney weekend more than not doing it. You will definitely enjoy it.
Absolutely. And I got to say, I did do I did that Expedition Everest 5K years ago. And I trained, but it's once you're there and you're doing it, and like Christina said, the hype that they give and get you so ready to run in the corrals just before you go, it goes by a lot faster than running in your neighborhood, because you're used to your neighborhood. You see the houses and you know how far away you are, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm still so far away from finishing this. But the adrenaline is just a lot more there, and that's something you got to be careful of, because then you end up running a little faster than you used to, and you could burn out way before you ever get to the end. But
I think that's happened to all of us, Bob. I think I don't know about you guys, but I think my first ever Walt Disney World, my first Walt Disney World marathon back in 2014. I think that's about mile 4 or 5 is through the TTC. It's kind of like when you go right by the Epcot monorail beams, and it's like the first time you actually see the crowd, and everybody's like cheering on you, whatever. And I'm like high-fiving people as I'm running by. It's my first marathon, and I looked down at my Garmin, and I'm running like a 6:30 pace, and I am not a 6:30 marathon runner. I need to back this down about 4 minutes right now.
You're like, this is unsustainable.
It was definitely the adrenaline got going, and I was like, wow, I need to pull this back here big time. So if I looked at my graph after that race, you could see a giant dip where I was running like way too fast, and it's definitely can get caught up in the moment, but it's exciting, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, it's definitely something you got to keep an eye out for.
Excellent. All right, real quick, round the table. Any last minute tips for folks that are thinking about doing their first, and I mean first marathon, not you guys that are seasoned, but somebody that's thinking about doing their first Run Disney marathon? Start with Christina.
Well, this goes back to your previous question with training. I am a huge believer in strength training. Definitely strength train. Gradually increase your miles while you're in the training. And the biggest, like Joe said, find a support group, because, running, to me, it's 50%, your training, 50% it's all mental. So you can easily psych yourself out. So having that support, having people that are cheering you on, that are helping you through the milestones, because the training season can be long. So finding those people that can help you through it, be it a group like ours, or even if you have a small support group in your town or a runners group, finding that definitely helps, and having people that are seasoned that you can bounce things off, saying, hey, I have this pain, or hey, I'm doing this, it doesn't seem to be working, that can give you advice. That definitely helps. I know I joined the Rocketeers before my first ever half, and I don't know that I would have gotten through it if it wasn't for the advice of people, and people cheering me on during my training for that. So yeah.
Excellent.
Wow.
Excellent. What about you, Emily?
I would say pick a distance like the 5K to start. Once you can do a 5K, you can do 10K. Once you can do a 10K, you can do a half. And people tell me that once you can do a half, you can do a full. But I don't necessarily believe them.
I was going to say, I got that advice from Joe Quattrochi, and I still don't believe him. I still don't.
Right. And so I can't give you the advice for the person who's going to do their first full, because I'm not going to do that. But what I can tell you is that just start small. You'll be amazed by how quickly you can build up, and how quickly you start thinking of like 3-mile run is not a really hard thing, but actually something you can fit in your lunch break. And that's another piece, is that as you get better trained, your runs go faster. So the distances seem shorter, even though you're actually running more, just because you're just getting more used to it. You're shaving minutes, half minutes off of your time. So it all adds up. So just steadily train. If you're in a winter climate like we are, definitely, if you cannot get out and do the miles on the road, do something like strength training with some treadmill if you can get it in there. But I was actually even told to just strength train. Strength training alone sometimes with the winter months can get you at least in a place where you can, as soon as you can add in the miles on the road, you're in a better place basically. So Christina's totally right about that. And then also get a buddy and don't put the pictures of your training runs on your general Facebook feed because you will lose friends. And that's the other thing. I did not do that, but I've heard from people. So post those all in your Rocketeers group. We're all going to be excited to see them and cheer for you. Only other runners really care about what the runners are doing. So save the race accomplishments, I would say, for runners because non-runners don't seem to care that much.
There you go. There you go. Joe, what about you?
Well, I'm going to go more of a logistical point because what these two ladies said is fantastic. So I'm going to say this. If you're looking at doing a Run Disney weekend, I'm going to use Marathon Weekend 2019 as an example. The signups are in April, okay? If you're thinking about doing it, we're still in the middle of the running season. It doesn't matter where you are, the spring running season is upon us. If you're thinking about maybe doing a 5K or 10K down in Walt Disney World, or even a half, whatever distance you want to do, find a local race by you. And try it out. If you're not a runner, try it out. See if you even like running. See if you like doing this. If you go out and do a 5K, you're like, this isn't for me, you definitely not want to spend $95 and plan a vacation and be miserable about it. That's something you not want to do. If you are somebody who does do some running and is already kind of in the scene of doing it, what my suggestion would be is if you want to do a Run Disney weekend and you've never done one before, look at the calendar. First of all, plan it out. Make sure that you have enough time to get down there, go to the expo, get your stuff, and have your vacation at the same time. Make sure you have enough time off of work or whatever, is in your life. Make sure you can financially afford it. Make sure if you could go down there with some family and friends for support, because that definitely makes the experience down there, is to be down there with family and friends. Also, too, like I said, just plan it out. Make sure that you make your accommodations far enough in advance. Because these weekends are so popular now that it doesn't matter if you're a DVC member or you're booking regular rooms through Disney itself or a travel agent or travel provider or whoever you're going off property, the place sells out, the place books up. So you want to make sure that all of those things, accommodation, meals, everything is planned. It's a lot of planning for a Run Disney weekend to do it properly. So if you're really serious about doing it, look at the calendar, make sure that all that kind of falls into place. If you're already a runner and you want to do that distance, plan ahead, map it out, plan it out, and you'll be good to go, and you'll definitely enjoy your weekend. Though my one final tip, and I can't stress this enough, is if you are going to sign up for a weekend, make sure you run a qualifying race ahead of time that has a time that you could submit to Run Disney. The last thing you want to do is just say if you are a faster runner and you don't submit a time to Run Disney or whatever, you don't submit a time at all, you could get stuck in a further back corral, and then you could be spending half the race kind of weaving in and out if you do decide you do want to run it faster than where they place you. So run a qualifying race or run a local race where you could submit a time to Run Disney so you can get a better corral placement. I'm a big fan of that. I tell a lot of beginners, make sure you submit a time because you want to start where you're supposed to start. You don't want to be running through a crowd. I said this on a different podcast. I had a friend of mine who ran a marathon. She ran a marathon this year, and I said 3:26. It was actually 3:46 she ran it in, and she started in the very last corral because she didn't have a time, and she spent like the first I don't know how many miles running on the grass. So, and she still ran at 3:46. So you don't want to be doing that. So that's my advice. Plan ahead. Try it out if you've never run it before. Find a support group and just train and have fun. It's supposed to be fun. That's why we do it.
And a quick piggyback off that, Run Disney we actually had a question about this on the Rocketeer site. Run Disney does have a cutoff time for the submission of a proof off time, and I forgot to do it for Wine and Dine, so I was in one of the last corrals, and it didn't really bother me that much. But I could have placed in a much higher corral based on my local proof of time that I had done. So pay attention to that date, go onto active. You can update it if you run a faster race in the future before the cutoff, but make sure you put something in there as soon as you possibly can, or you might miss off that cutoff and they will not make adjustments for that.
Yeah, that just for, I'm looking at it right now, for the Star Wars Half Marathon, that's in April, middle of April. The cutoff time was the middle of January. for those times, proof of time. So you're exactly right. Great tips from everybody. And Tim,
Yeah.
I need to get hydrated and nutrated. I'm exhausted after this. That is all I have for our Rocketeer captains.
Yes.
And again, welcome Christina, our West Coast, once they start those back up.
Yay, Christina.
Woohoo.
Awesome.
Oh, by the way, real quick before you say your thing, make sure you guys seek out our captains, because they do have some really cool Rocketeer pins for you guys.
I just found a bag of them.
Nice.
I'm bringing them to Darkside.
It's like gold bullion.
It's exciting.
Maybe Bitcoin. We'll see how that goes.
And if you
All
want
right.
to definitely join the Rocketeers. It's a wonderful, active group. People are engaging. Usually your questions get answered right away. Definitely join us.
Great.
We're at 118 members right now. We are one of the smaller groups where we are small but mighty, as we say.
That's right.
And a lot of us are, so we've met through the Rocketeers group. That's how I met Christina. I've learned from her just with running stuff in general. So we try to help each other out. Poster runs, we give each other encouragement, and we just have fun with it. Like I said, we're not as big as some of the other groups, but we're definitely one of the more supportive groups, and we cheer each other on. That's what it's all about.
Without
And
a
I
doubt.
actually like that we're not as big of a group. I feel like I know some of the more active members much more personally than I'm sure happens in some of the bigger groups, where it would just get lost. The feed would probably get lost if it wasn't so small. So
Yes.
I kind of enjoy it.
I do too. I feel like I know everybody in that group that, has ever participated, really.
Right.
Yeah, we have the Facebook page, we have the email, we also have a Strava group. So if you're a member on Strava, which is a kind of like a Facebook for running, but it kind of like you have friends and you can see each other's runs. We have a Strava group as well, and also we also have a Garmin Connect group as well that's out there. So seek us out, Resort Loop Rocketeers, join it, and one of us will approve you to get in. So
Awesome.
Excellent.
Awesome.
All right.
Joe,
You
Emily,
guys, thanks
Christina,
so much.
thank you very much. Everybody, just go to Resort Loop Rocketeers on Facebook. Check them out.
Absolutely. And make sure you guys check out the Run Disney website. They've got some great training tips for you from Jeff Galloway, and all the Run Disney events that are going on. And what else should folks do, Tim?
Everybody go out there and share the Resort Loop Rocketeers and the Gateway to the Magic.
See you, everybody.
Vacation memories will stay with you and your family for a lifetime. The Resort Loop Travel Group was created with this in mind. Our fee-free services will relieve you of the stress and confusion of finding and booking the best vacation at the best price. After booking, we will continue to monitor for ways to save you even more on your vacation. We will check for any upcoming packages and discounts to save you as many vacation dollars as possible. Resort Loop Travel Group, gateway to your magical vacation memories. Get a quote, or for more information, visit ResortLoopTravelGroup.com.